how many stories does the Chandi, how many main stories does the Chandi have? Anybody? 10? Okay, how many main stories are depicted in the Chandi? Right, there are three main stories, okay? And these three stories represent the threefold transformation of consciousness. From our tamasic inert nature, story number 1, to our rajasic active nature, story number 2, to our sattvic nature in story number 3. It's actually a blueprint of the spiritual map. It's the journey from limited consciousness to expanded consciousness. And the transformation of this involves the gunas. So just quickly, what are the gunas? The gunas are qualities, energies, forces in nature and behind our mind. The predominance of one guna over the other causes us to feel sometimes the feeling of stagnation, or the feeling of restlessness, or to get insights. When you're in a tamasic state of mind, tamas is defined as inertia. It covers the ego. Okay? With all the impurities, mala, it covers the ego, and it makes you feel darkness. You feel inactive, and you feel confused. When you're feeling the ego is in this rajasic state, rajas is defined as activity. What is it? It projects out the ego. When that happens, you start to feel restless. You have desires, and you feel dissatisfied. In the sattva, when our ego is in that sattvic level, sattva is defined as the revealing power of the ego. And when you get in that state of mind, you feel a sense of balance. You feel a sense of joy. You gain insight. So what we see is that these are 3 states of mind. And they define how we experience things. Okay? These are 3 ways of experiencing the same situation. If we were at a monks conference, for example, and maybe Swami Harinamananda was speaking, right? And let's say it's at a big monks, and maybe as he's speaking, some monk may feel, oh gosh, he's such a good speaker. I can never be like that. I shouldn't even try. They might start to feel depressed. Other monks may feel that, oh my God, he has so many YouTube hits. I can also be like that. I should also speak like that. It starts to bring out your competitive nature. And other of us will be sitting there saying, wow, I get so immersed while he's talking. I lose sight of time. I get so many insights. That's sattvic nature. So all of us, we go through these 3 states of mind during the course of the day. So this is what the Chandi is about. It's the threefold transformation of consciousness described in these 3 sections. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you, if we only had like 2 minutes to explain what the Chandi was, I'm going to give you the cliff notes, all right? It's what we call the cheat sheet. So before we used to take exam, if you didn't study for the exam, look at the cliff notes and then try your best. So here are the cliff notes to the Chandi. If you know this, when you read the Chandi, you'll at least be able to pass the exam. So let's see what we have here. Okay, I'll read this to you because it's kind of small print. The first question that arises in the Chandi is what causes attachment? There are 2 characters, Surata and Samadhi. They have knowledge of what's causing them attachment, yet they experience pain. They can't let go. What causes attachment? What's the mechanism behind attachment? Why can't we let go of the things that are causing us pain and suffering? If I were to ask you, why did you come to spiritual life here? Why are you here right now? There is something that has brought you here. What's the question or what's the problem that needs to be solved in your life? So, these two people, Surat and Samadhi, talking about their sense of attachment and the pain they're feeling from attachment, go to a sage, Medha. And Medha says simply, the cause of attachment is Mahamaya. She's deluding us, but she can also remove it. Then the next question is, well, what are the ways she's deluding us? Medha says, 3 ways. In the first story, the first way she's deluding you is through ignorance and fear. And when that happens, you develop the Madhu Kaitaba personality. The second way she's deluding you is through the need for power and control. When we feel the need for greed, fame, domination, guess what happens? You develop the Mahishasura personality. The third way she's deluding you is through the need for pride and recognition. And when that happens, you develop the Shumba Nishumba personality. Now, the next question that follows up then, well, if she's deluding us in these ways, what can we do to remove that delusion? Simply, in the Chandi it states, through worship and prayer. When you're feeling tamas, what do? Chant the Brahma Stuti to awaken Vishnu, your own consciousness. When you are feeling rajasic and feeling the obstacles of rajas, you invoke divine rajas so that all your fragmented consciousness starts to be coalesced, unified, singular, and the divine starts to manifest. When you feel the effects of even sattva, yes, sattva, there are obstacles. Chant the aparajita stuti, the Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, to see the divine in all her manifestations, in all her forms, to remove even the last impediment of sattva, so that you can merge into the divine. The next question is then, how does she manifest? Well, in the first story, she manifests as Kali, to cut the delusion and to awaken your ego. In the second story, she manifests as Lakshmi, the Rajasic aspect of the divine, to give you abundance, to give you what you need, so that you can ripen and mature that ego. And in the third story, she manifests as Saraswati, to give you knowledge. For what purpose? So you can finally cut that ego. It doesn't serve a purpose now in your interaction with the divine.